Hello peoples, welcome to Annoyed Gamer. This week's show is mainly about Xbox One because last week I tackled PS4. But because I tackled PS4 last week, there was a bunch of blowback on stuff. And towards the end of the show, I will discuss that and a few other things. But today, it's mostly Xbox One. And obviously, Resolution Gate is the big topic du jour. It is the #1 hot topic on our Billboard charts of hating and bollocks that is going on the internet this week. So, Resolution Gate. It's basically the Xbox One's 720p display that is being up-res to 1080p. And that's getting a lot of people going, ah, the humanity! And then there's a lot of people saying, oh, don't worry about it, you're talking bobbins, we really don't care about that extra resolution. And then more people saying, wah, wah, wah. Now I can see two sides of this, both sides in fact. First of all, I'm going to tackle the side of those who are going, arr! Let's face it, Xbox One is a more expensive console. It's $100 more expensive. It's coming out after the PS4. So if you are buying an Xbox One, and you feel that, you have this next generation console, you expect it to be 1080 and 60 frames a second. You expect that leap forward from the last set of consoles. And understandably, some people are quite miffed about this. What I will say is, I've read a few articles about this week, and I see, contrary to popular belief, I do some research, I do talk to people, I do read shit. And one of the articles I read made some very interesting points that the reason the Xbox One is currently in 720p is because of everybody's favorite peripheral, Kinect. Basically, Kinect takes up 10%, I think, of the processing power because it's pretty much always on. And Microsoft haven't had a chance to refine the drivers for it. Also, a bunch of other drivers for the Xbox One, including the graphics cards and a lot of other things and all the daily apps and everything, they take up processing power, which means that developers haven't had the tools to really push Xbox One games into 1080p territory. Now, this means that hopefully Microsoft are on the case and they are going to sort this shit out. They are going to deliver a 1080p 60 frames a second box. But this is, again, one of the downsides when you go for a box that's not a gaming box, which the PS4 is supposed to be. The Xbox One is an everything box. It does Skype, it does NFL drafty things, it does Kinect, it does music, it does whatever you want, apparently, allegedly. It doesn't turn into an attractive woman and give you a lap dance, but I digress. So yeah, if I bought an Xbox One and I was concerned about such things, I'd be pissed. I have actually bought an Xbox One, and I'm not actually that concerned about it. I'll tell you why, because having looked at the 720 up-res to 1080 next to the 1080 on the PS4, yes, there is a difference. I've looked at a couple of games, and the PS4 looks sharper, it looks crisper, better draw distances. It just looks really, really nice. I mean, Assassin's Creed is one of my favorite games to look at on the PS4 because it's such a gorgeous looking game. And then on the Xbox, it looks a little bit fuzzier, looks a little bit more strained. So yeah, and as somebody who has pre-ordered an Xbox One and will be shelling out for an Xbox One, I do hope that they get their act together and sort their shit out. Now, obviously, like I said, there were two sides to this argument. There was the people who were like, oh, this is terrible, understandably so. And then there's the people who, on the media side in particular, have been saying, it's not so much about the resolution, it's about the next generation of games. And they have a point. I mean, look, we are all graphics whores at our heart. We do want the shiniest, the prettiest, the most polygons, pixels, frames, voxels. Voxels, this is a blast from the past for you. We do all that. We want all that on our screens, but we also want the great games. What's the point in having a fantastic, gorgeous 60 frames a second, 4,000 freaking pixel K, whatever, display when the game is a bag of shite? This is where next gen really has to step up as well. We know the graphics will get there once all the drivers have been sorted and Microsoft have got their shit together on that. Well, fingers crossed. But it is about the games. We do want better quality games. You can have some games with mediocre graphics that are absolutely really fun. Minecraft. Look at that. It's blocky. It's 8-bit almost. And it's a bunch of fun. You look at, Hotline Miami, Retro City Rampage. A lot of the indie games that are done in the 8-bit style, they're a lot of fun. I mean, then again, you have games like Call of Duty Ghosts, where you can have 60 frames a second, and you can have it in 1080p. It's still a crap game. All right, next point. Let's talk about Microsoft and what they need to do with regards to the games. And again, not talking about the graphics, because there was a really interesting article posted on NeoGAF this week that I got sent and I read, and it's about Rare. You know those guys, Killer Instinct, Donkey Kong Country, and lots of other way awesomer stuff way back in the old, 48K computer days. Rare, they did some good shit. They don't do good shit no more. But anyway, this NeoGAF article basically listed a whole slew of concepts and game designs, along with some amazing concept art in a lot of cases, of Rare games that have been pitched to Microsoft and for whatever reason have been cancelled from the start of the Xbox, all the way through to the end of the 360. Now, there was a new Perfect Dark game in there, which looked and sounded, well, it sounded rather cool. If you looked at, there was more Banjo stuff in there. There was a Saber Wolf game in there, a Saberman. There was a couple of MMOs for the Xbox there, which, at some point somebody's going to have to, get these MMOs out there. And they sounded really cool concept-wise. There was a sequel to Cameo there, which raises my point that Microsoft's treatment of Rare, it's been a bit shoddy. And to have this great studio that did all these great games, Microsoft buy it out to secure this killer team. And the Stamper brothers jump ship, they leave, and they're off doing Facebook games, I understand right now, which in my opinion, if it makes them happy, it makes them happy. But it's a total waste because the Stamper brothers are just gods to me when it comes to gaming because of my experience during the 80s with my Sinclair Spectrum. But then there were also some great people there who worked from the GoldenEye days and the Donkey Kong Country days, and they're the ones who have been pitching this stuff. And I don't even know if they're still at the studio anymore because they must have got soul destroyed by having this stuff pitched and having it turned down, having it cancelled over and over and over. And now Kinect is the only thing that Rare seem to be doing, and that's not right. And Microsoft, really need to take a lesson from Sony's book because Sony have been nailing it with the first-party games. We've had the great stuff. We've had Uncharted. We've had Last of Us. A lot of people liked Beyond Two Souls. Wasn't my cup of tea, but a lot of people liked it. We've had Little Big Adventure. We've had, a lot of other stuff. The God of War series. And Microsoft has really put its stock in maybe 3 titles in Halo, Gears of War, and Forza. And they're trying to change that up, as that's what it looks like anyway with regards to the Xbox One launch stuff. But having read all these amazing concepts, the Xbox 360 would have been a much better console with these games on it. And I'm hoping that these concepts do see the light of day and do become games for Xbox One, because that is where Microsoft are failing. It's the first party games. No matter what anybody says, Rise still looks like a dog. A lot of people have said it. A couple of people have said, oh, it's surprisingly nice. I haven't had a chance to play it, but every time I've seen it, it looks like a dog. The only real exciting game for me right now is Dead Rising 3, because that looks batshit crazy and silly, and you get to make stuff. You get to make a RoboCat, for God's sake. And that to me just looks fun, and zombies everywhere. And every time I've seen it, it actually looks better and better and better. So yes, Microsoft, you have Rare. Let's hope you still have some talent there, or maybe you need to hire some talent to come into Rare and pull that team together and take them off making stupid-ass Kinect games. Because let's face it, nobody gives a toss about Kinect games still, no matter how much you want to think about it like that. Give us a new Cameo. Give us a new Perfect Dark. Give us an awesome Perfect Dark. I'm not talking about the 360 launch version, which was pretty bum, to be honest with you. We know Killer Instinct's coming, but we know that's not being done by Rare. But yes, Microsoft, Xbox One, that's my discussion. Alrighty, my response to last week. Well, I talked about PS4, and I said there was a rumor out there. And this was a rumor that had been dotted around over the last couple of months. And I said it was a rumor. Rumor. Apparently, you're not allowed to say there is a rumor out there without the Sony Defense Force getting a little bit overexcited. The response I got last week would make you think that I'd gone into each and every one of their houses, kissed their granny, and then pooped on their living room table. And this highlights one of the problems with games right now. There is a small and vocal minority that delights in posting on places like NeoGAF and Reddit and so on, and GameTrailers, and get upset if you criticize the console they have owned for X amount of years or the console that they have pre-ordered. And I'm wondering if it's validation. Not everybody can afford all the consoles. Not everybody's blessed enough to have access to all the consoles, and I understand that. And if you make this big investment, you want this purchase validation. This console is your gaming source, and any criticism of that is a criticism perhaps of your choice to buy something. Now, the response I got was, pretty shitty, but I'm used to it. Adam Sessler, who's a good friend of mine and a colleague and somebody I've worked with ever since I moved to the States, he did a video talking about the resolution stuff, and he put his points out there. The abuse he got was pretty much ridiculous. I mean, Xbox shill, cocksucker, those were some of the nicer things that were said. And all this sort of stuff was basically, these allegations came from a small core base of pissed off people who basically hide behind anonymous online monikers. Now, Adam Sessler gets in front of a camera every day. Adam Sessler does his job. Adam Sessler works his ass off, lives, breathes, eats, drinks games. Adam Sessler, as it was paraphrased in a tweet I saw this week, has forgotten more about video games than most gamer fans will ever know about in their lifetimes. Adam doesn't deserve that shit. If you want to come and have a conversation with us and you want to prove that we're wrong, come and have a conversation. If you want to be insulting about it, at least have the stones not to hide behind a stupid anonymous name. Basically, if you want to stand up and share your opinion, and if you want to come and talk and have a dialogue with the likes of myself and Adam Sessler, that's great. We welcome it. And if we're wrong, we're wrong. I've admitted I'm wrong in the past. But get out the bubble, because if you're in that bubble, you can't see the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is actually pretty cool. PC games are cool. PlayStation games are cool. Nintendo games are cool. Xbox games are cool. And if you get the chance to experience all these other games, go do it. And if somebody's going to express an opinion on Resolution Gate that doesn't match up with yours, don't go bananas about it. Discourse, conversation. Don't call somebody a drug-addled cocksucker shill. Have a conversation, because if you hide behind these anonymous monikers and you insult, you'll be ignored. Your opinion will be ignored. You will be dismissed. I am Marcus Beer. I stand here or sit here and do this show and a couple of others. You search Marcus Beer on Twitter, up I come. Yes, I'm at Annoyed Gamer, but I'm there as Marcus Beer. I'm not hiding behind something else. Stop hiding. Have a conversation. Be a decent human being. Because let's face it, when you're hiding and you're bitching and you're moaning and you've not really contributed anything to this industry with regards to working in it or doing anything of use beyond buying games. And look, there's nothing wrong with being a gamer and buying games, because you are entitled as a gamer to great experiences. You put your money down, you're entitled to have these great experiences and expect stuff. Yes. But what you're not entitled to is the flat out abuse, the flat out racist stuff, the sexist stuff, the misogynist stuff. And if you're hiding behind an anonymous moniker to do that, you're a coward. Don't be a coward. 99% of gamers are fantastic people who do amazing stuff. Look at Child's Play last week and how much money that made, despite 2 denial of service attacks by absolute scumbags. People came together, people sponsored, people coughed up, people gave for auctions, people gave stuff away, bought stuff. It was fantastic, and gamers did something cool. But all that could be talked about this week is Resolution Gate and Sony Gate and all these other gates. Smarten up, eh? Because if you're a young kid and you're doing this, you're in for a very rude awakening the first time you really try to gob off to somebody. Invite the discourse, invite the conversation, come and talk. Don't hide behind a fake name or a little something you cobbled together on Twitter, NeoGAF, Reddit, GameTrailers forums, whatever. Grow up. You'll be better for it, we'll be better for it. And I, for one, will be so glad when this launch period is over. Because this whole, his console's better than mine, my console's better than his dick's better than mine. It reminds me of a bad episode of South Park. Remember that one where Eric Cartman went in for anger management and it was all tapped down to penis size? Don't have a small penis. Okay, that's this week's show. Follow me on Twitter. I'm not going to ask you to abuse me. Come and have a conversation with me. I want to hear from you if you're an Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Nintendo, PC, whatever. Come talk to me. Tell me about your favorite games. Tell me what excites you about this launch period. Let's get big and cuddly and just enjoy the games. Next week, I'm going to be taking questions, so keep an eye on my Twitter feed. I will be taking questions. I'll put a call out probably on Tuesday of next week for questions about next gen, and hopefully I can answer as many as possible. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week. Ciao.